The steward probably uses the scissors on hard-to-open packages. These days, nearly everything is sealed up tight. A colleague recently told me about dry powdered soup in small bags. I couldn't believe it. When I scratch the pencil's lead with the scissors, I get fine graphite powder. I won't get a Nobel Prize for the idea, but graphite powder will bring out fingerprints at a pinch. Locked.
Bang! Bang!
Uh-huh.
Don't move!
Matt, have you gone mad?
I'll shoot! Hey, my pistol!
You'll get it back in Venice. I could have fallen under the wheels.
I thought you were a ghost.
Ghosts don't exist.
They do too. Once you flew past the window.
Yes, sure. Now get moving.
Oh, man.
Oh, Constable?
Yes, ma'am.
My son didn't make any trouble for you, I hope. It's just that he just walked past us, silent and seething. That's usually a sign that someone's laid down the law.
I'm afraid so. He played a trick on me, a rather dangerous one. The lad left me no choice but to take away his wooden pistol as a punishment.
I understand. And thank you. Matty is a very lively child. Sometimes he needs a strong fatherly hand.
Where is Matt's father, if I may ask?
He's gone.
Ah, I understand.
Could you, leave Matty's pistol here, perhaps? So you don't have to bother with it?
Of course. I told him he wouldn't get it back until Venice.
Very well. Thank you again, Constable.
Lady Westmacott.
Yes?
I was wondering if you might...
Sign your book, Constable Zellner?
If it isn't too much of an inconvenience.
Of course it's an inconvenience, but only a small one. You are welcome.
Thank you so very much. Mrs. Miller made a good impression. She wanted to protect Lady Westmacott from me, a pushy admirer. Very diligent. But she does seem a little nervous and tense. I imagine she has her work cut out for her with Matt. And a difficult boss, from what they say. Mrs. Miller?
Yes?
Did you notice anything unusual on the train?
Oh, I'm afraid not. I was totally focused on my work.
She's always got an awful lot to do, my Mary.
You have to tell me if that's not all right with you.
Good Lord, child. Knit as much as you want.
So, nothing out of the ordinary.
No, Constable.
Goodbye, Mrs. Miller.
Goodbye, Constable.
This is the first car. The coal tender should be directly beyond this door, and in front of it, the engine. The large map shows the different routes of the Orient Express. This train began in Paris and ends in Istanbul, as usual. Unfortunately, it will make most of its journey without me. The train covers a distance of more than 3,000 kilometers. It stops at a dozen places. In many cities, they entertain the travelers with local specialities and culture and adventure, especially in southeastern Europe. Hello, Matt. Oh, come on. Are you going to be angry with me for the rest of the trip?
Until I get my pistol back.
I gave it to your mother.
Oh, man. Couldn't you have just raked me over the coals?
Would you have learned anything from that?
I didn't learn anything from this either.
Would you like a butterscotch?
You think you can bribe me?
I have no reason to. You made trouble and got punished for it. Take it as a peace offering.
Just 4?
If I'm faster than you, there'll only be 3.
Hey!
Friends again?
Mm-hmm.
All right then. And no dangerous nonsense anymore.
Okay.
Your mother is Lady Westmacott's companion, correct?
Yeah, but it's not like you think. At first I thought, boy, you must be really wicked if you need to pay for friends. But the lady's really okay. A bit odd and really old. But other than that, she's great. She likes me.
The lady has peculiar taste.
Hey!
You and your mother, do you both live on Lady Westmacott's estate?
I'm only there for the holidays. Most of the time I'm at boarding school.
I imagine that's not very pleasant.
No, it's fine. I have friends there. You always have to be so quiet in the lady's house. And I'm not allowed to bring any friends.
Such a big house with so many places to hide and no one to play hide and seek with.
You said it.
And how long has your mother worked for the lady?
2 years.
And your father? What does he do?
He stayed home. I used to go fishing with him. And hunting. He even let me shoot a real gun.
And then?
Then Mom fought with him. And he left. I was 7.
Oh, and how old are you now?
In 8 months, I'll be 9 years old.
And do you already know what you want to be when you grow up? A burglar?
No. We'll see. Maybe an actor.
Really? Well, I don't know. You need a lot of talent for that. I'm an actor in a theater group, you know?
You are?
Oh, yes. And I'm one of the best in our group, if I may say so. I get really deep into my roles, you know? I don't just talk like the character. I think like him. I become him. It's the only way to... Matt, are you okay?
I think you just have to be good at copying things to be an actor.
That wasn't bad. Disturbing, but not bad. The Baroness in the second compartment over there is missing her purse. Do you have any idea where it could be?
Do I ever? That guy over there with the violin case?
What about him?
He picked up something in Zurich and put it in his violin case.
Really?
Yeah, and he made sure that nobody saw him.
But you saw him.
Uh-huh.
Did you also see what it was?
Nah, not really. But now that I think of it, it must have been the Baroness's purse.
I should look into it, shouldn't I?
I think so. No. He was walking around a little while ago, though.
Hopefully they didn't forget him in Zurich.
What's he supposed to do?
I'm looking for a key to open a compartment door.
Did you check his things behind the counter?
I'm sure the drawers will be locked.
Can't you break it open? Or pick the lock like the Raven?
Perhaps. But I'd need a piece of wire or something like that.
Ask my mom. She has a lot of hairpins. She doesn't like the wind messing up her hair.
Thanks for the tip. So long.
So longer.
Excuse me, sir. A passenger is missing her purse. Perhaps it was stolen.
Really?
Someone saw you with your violin case on the platform in Zurich.
What's the meaning of this? I didn't steal anything.
Nobody said you did. I just wanted to ask you whether you might have noticed anything on the platform.
Well,
Why did you think I was accusing you?
well, I thought because you mentioned my violin case in the context of the purse.
Apropos, may I have a look at your violin? It must be a very extraordinary piece.
Oh, that's not possible. It's a genuine Guarneri.
Very valuable.
Very. And also very sensitive.
What could harm it here? Light? Air? May I ask you to open the violin case?
No, you may not. I'm not guilty of anything.
I'm afraid I have to insist.
Then I'm afraid you need a warrant. I will not stand back and let you rifle through my belongings.
Have a good trip.
Thank you. What are you doing? Didn't I make myself clear? The window stays closed.
You're not alone on this train. I want the window open.
Swiss politeness doesn't seem to be what it used to be. I'm not going to catch a cold because of you. Go somewhere else if you don't like it.
The violinist is uncooperative. I'm not authorized to search his belongings against his will and without a good reason. And he knows it. I have to come up with something. That makes no sense. The violinist would close the window immediately, and I wouldn't have enough time to search his violin case. The tip of the toothpick is stuck between the window and the runner.
What nerve! I'll complain to your superiors.
Well, that's not what you expect to find in a violin case. An old one, but probably still fully functional. I don't know anything about violins. It may very well be a very expensive violin, or not.
Hey, what are you doing there?
I was taking your case for safekeeping, since it was left here unattended. When I picked it up, the cover unlatched.
I never leave my violin unattended.
Ah, then no one else could have put this purse in your case.
Someone must have snuck it in. Like you.
Aha, for sure. And you have a pistol in the case because...
I don't owe you an explanation. It's mine. I have a gun license. Now, take the damned purse to the Baroness and leave me in peace. Just get lost.
It won't be that easy. I'll report the incident to the Italian authorities in Venice. He doesn't make a very balanced impression. And he, of all people, isn't bothered by a robbery in his own museum. Should I take a look inside? It would be a breach of trust. On the other hand, there might be important clues to be found. Some letters. Private. Banknotes. British pounds, French francs, Italian lira. Much more than most would carry with them. But probably suitable for a wealthy lady like the Baroness. And here? A picture. A family in a garden. From the light clothing of the people in the picture and the strong shadows, I'd say the picture was taken on a sunny day. Tough to read. It's old-fashioned German. I learned it in school, but I'm a bit out of practice. I've been writing with the Latin-style script for 10 years now, like everyone else. Seems like it says, "For my dear little sister Meta, summer in Masuria, 1926. The Baroness must have been a young woman in 1926. She probably spent the summer holidays with her family there. Pleasant memories carried in a picture. But it's none of my business. I should give the Baroness her property back."
Inspector, did you find the Baroness's purse?
I did indeed.
You did? Out of my way, James. Oh, wunderbar. Tremendous work, Inspector.
Constable, Baroness. Constable Anton Jakob Zellner, at your service. May I ask you where this beautiful train is taking you?
To the madhouse, I'm afraid. One is close to the brink of insanity with this constant shaking and rattling.
Have you ever tried flying, Baroness?
Do you know how little luggage one is permitted upon an aeroplane? It defies all reason and good taste.
Have you heard about the burglary at the British Museum?
Heard about it? I'm directly affected by it.
How so?
I'm in charge of the Friends of the British Museum. And for your information, I'm financing the exhibition.
Exhibition? What exhibition?
The exhibition in Cairo. Where did you think we were going? The eyes of the Sphinx were supposed to be exhibited together for the first time in decades. Now that one of them is gone, the exhibition will be rather less sensational than we'd hoped.
On the other hand, there's a chance that all the uproar will generate more attention, and that the exhibition will still be a great success.
Perhaps, but we wanted to show them both together. That was the whole point.
Can you tell me anything about your fellow passengers, Baroness?
No, not really. I could hardly care who's penned up in here with me. Oh, no. Wait a minute. Lucien is here, the professor. Poor fellow. The eye of the Sphinx that was stolen belonged to his collection.
Professor Lucien is an Egyptologist.
But of course, as director of the Egyptian department at the British Museum, he has to be. The whole burglary thing really upset him. Director Thomas told me he was a nervous wreck.
I'll take my leave of you now, Baroness, and I do hope your journey becomes more bearable.
Ha! Yes, indeed, Inspector.
Constable. James? Mrs. Miller?
Yes?
Please excuse my unusual request, but Matt said you have some hairpins. Could I borrow one?
One of my hairpins?
It's a long story. It would be a big help.
Well, if you really need one.
Go ahead, Mary. The constable won't do it any harm. Will you, Mr. Zellner?
Of course not, madam.
Is this one okay?
It'll do nicely, madam. How very kind of you. Goodbye, Mrs. Miller.
Goodbye, Constable.
And suddenly, it's me who's the thief on the train. Oops, that was easier than expected. Batteries, a toothbrush, shaving brush, but not the key to the compartment door. Just this one. Too small for the door, but it might still be useful. There we go. This should help. Thank you for your hairpin, Mrs. Miller. It really got me out of a jam.
Oh, really? That's good to hear. And thank you for bringing it back to me. Not everybody would have.
I'm a Swiss policeman, madam. I couldn't do otherwise even if I tried. Hey, Matt. The violinist really did steal the purse. Well observed.
I knew it! I bet he's got more stuff planned. I'll stay here and keep an eye on him secretly. Okay?
Sounds like a plan. The butler, this James, seems to have escaped the Baroness. Good day to you, sir.
Can I be of any assistance, sir?
I wanted to ask you a few questions. Where did you and the Baroness board the train?
In Paris, sir. The Baroness was there on behalf of a charity that she supported for many years.
So you weren't in London when they broke into the British Museum?
We may have been, actually. We left for Dover bright and early the morning after the burglary. But it was in Paris when we first heard of it. The morning paper in London didn't mention the unfortunate event, sir.
And just 2 days later, you're on a train bound for Switzerland. The Baroness certainly gets around.
Indeed, sir. We are practically always on the go.
What can you tell me about the Baroness?
Nothing, sir. A butler does not tattle.
If you'll pardon a rather odd question, are you really named James? That would be a lucky coincidence in your line of work.
My name, sir, is Clive Alfred Inch.
Your second name is Alfred. Yet the Baroness calls you James.
Madam considers James to be the only forename suited to a butler, sir.
Isn't butler an odd choice of career? Butler. Many would say it's a strange job.
It is true that I am one of a dying breed, sir. The war claimed a generation of butlers.
Have you been to war as well?
Indeed, sir. I was a groom for a cavalry officer.
When you British talk about war, one is never sure which war you mean. It seems the situation hasn't changed much since the 30 Years' War, has it?
Shrapnel from a bomb dropped by a Fokker would not have wounded me in the 30 Years' War, sir.
No, of course not. Goodbye, James. Or Alfred. I don't think he can tell me anything more of interest. I bet I could really get a grip on the bolt with these.
Well, come on then, hurry up.
Hello?
I barely left the window ajar.
Nothing to see.
Ah,
Are you okay?
yes, fine.
Do you have any idea why the door was locked?
I don't know. Maybe the constant vibrations caused the lock to lock itself.
You can't possibly believe that.
Well, then what's your theory?
The conductor could have locked it from the outside. On the other hand, it could have been someone here in the compartment who locked the door from the inside.
Who? And where have they gone?
They could have climbed out there.
Who would be that insane?
You tell me, Professor. So, what are you hiding in your bag? What do you have that would be worth stealing?
No, nothing.
No valuables?
Certainly not. Not on my salary.
It was enough for a first-class compartment on a luxury train.
That's my business.
You're playing a dangerous game, Professor Lucien. I believe you and the inspector do know each other.
What makes you think that?
It seems like the two of you are running a haulage company specializing in safes.
I won't comment on that. It's a matter of international importance.
Tell me, Professor, would you happen to have a key in your briefcase? And if so, would it still happen to be there?
Then all would be as it should.
That's what we hope, at least. All the same, it would have been a simple matter for a thief to make an impression of it. Right, Professor?
Oh.
And the break-in? It wasn't an issue for you? Even though you're the head of the department where it occurred?
All right. The burglary was most upsetting. And shocking. And I didn't know what to do, okay?
And you couldn't just tell me that.
The fewer people who know about it, the better. I can't trust anyone.
You're not only going to Venice, are you? Could it be that your journey will continue? All the way to Egypt, perhaps? I'm on your side, but the more you lie to me, the more difficult you make my job. I'd like to look around a bit.
Of course.
What's this?
What do you have there?
It's a button. From a suit or a uniform, I guess.
The burglar might have lost it.
Maybe. Or maybe not. If I notice anyone with a missing button on his jacket, I'll ask him about it. But I wouldn't get my hopes up. If there was a burglar, he climbed out the window and jumped off the train. Assuming there really was someone in the compartment, and he climbed out the window, where's he gone?
what are you doing?
I'm trying to make what I suspect are fingerprints visible.
And? Found anything?
Unfortunately, no. There are only a couple of fingerprints on the window. It was probably cleaned before departure, but the prints I can see look like glove marks.
Well, wouldn't you expect that? What professional burglar wouldn't wear gloves?
It was worth a try. Wow, you have a very nice fountain pen. Pricey.
If you'd managed to decode hieroglyphics that boggled the best minds of the last 3,000 years, you'd have received a gift like that as well.
No, nothing interesting. The Bible, Grimm's fairy tales, Moby Dick, and gin, whiskey, and rum. All classics. I really wonder what the professor is hiding from me. But I can't just rifle through the luggage of innocent citizens. This is the 60s. Make out faint traces. Whoever was in this compartment was wearing gloves. Goodbye, Professor.
Goodbye.
I don't think the Baroness has any more information for me. And she's not the most pleasant conversationalist either. Hey, Matt. The viol...
I knew it! I'll stay here.
Sounds like... I'll inform the authorities in Venice. They'll decide what to do with him.
Pardon me, sir.
We could have used you a few minutes ago. I think it's uncomfortable for her when I talk to her in front of Lady Westmacott. She seems to take it as an inappropriate distraction from her work, although she's just knitting. Taking up a craft like that is typical of women who were told as little girls that idleness is a sin. I think it's although... Hello, Dr. Gebhardt.
Ah, Mr. Zellner.
I've been wondering why you're wearing gloves. Are your hands really so sensitive? Or are you cold?
Well, it's an old habit. As a doctor, one is so conscious of all the pathogens, bacteria, and viruses that surround us. Though, of course, perhaps I do tend to be a bit too cautious.
I know exactly what you mean. As a policeman, I sense subterfuge and lies everywhere. Auf Wiedersehen, Dr. Gebhardt.
Goodbye, Constable. It was a pleasant chat, really.
Inspector Legrand?
Anything to report?
I got Professor Lucien into his compartment using a pair of pliers.
Did you notice anything inside the compartment?
The window was open. Someone could have climbed out.
And the professor?
Acted suspiciously. He rummaged around in his leather bag.
And?
He seemed to have found what he was searching for.
Good. Good work.
Now, perhaps you could give me some information.
All right. We should... What? The light's gone out! Flashlights! Ah! Get off me! There, sir! An envelope! My dear Nico, you should take a closer look at the box. R. What the dickens? It's a...
Away with it! Take cover! Oh dear. Oh.
Is everyone all right? Are you hurt? Quick thinking. Well done, Zellner.
I think the tunnel collapsed.
Then he's trapped. Hurry, we have to lock the second exit.
Sir, there's a fire up ahead. The engine's burning.
It's a distraction. Hurry, block the exit.
But, sir...
The fire will consume all the oxygen.
He's right, Inspector. A fire in a narrow tunnel is extremely dangerous.
Merde. Go to the front of the train, find the engineer, and tell him to move the train out of the tunnel.
Yes, sir.
Are you ready? You have to uncouple the freight car. You understand?
I understand.
I'll see to the passengers. They should all wait in the tunnel. We'll check each one in turn as they go out.
Let's get to it. The inspector's trap failed. The thief must have got wind of it. Worse than that, he turned the tables. To win a game of cat and mouse, you have to know who is the cat and who is the mouse. Champagne. The finest. Maybe we'll open a bottle if we get out of the tunnel alive. Until then, though, it's no use to me. My God, what a fire. I hope Constable Oliver can at least reach the engine. Whiskey, scotch, rum, liqueurs, enough to entertain everyone on the train all the way from Paris to Istanbul. High-proof rum. Could be useful. Rum from Austria. Believe it or not, it's 80% alcohol by volume. There's no way anyone would drink it straight. The other passengers escaped from the train. I can see their silhouettes in the light of the fire. If I don't hurry up and uncouple the freight car, they'll suffocate. A lot was damaged by the sudden stop, but the bowl was thick enough to survive the fall. The last of the candy has vanished. Measured against the exploding freight car, I think the railway will overlook the loss. The last of the candy... Carling Black Label, a British beer. No good. Insufficient alcohol content. For practical purposes, I mean, not for drinking.
Oh, pardon me. I did not mean to scare you.
What are you doing here, Doctor?
Legrand asked me to check whether there are any passengers left on the train.
Really? No one is here, except for me. And you?
Excellent. Then I will continue searching at the front.
Did anyone act suspiciously before the explosion? Did anyone leave their seat, for example?
I was the only one on the train who wasn't seated when the freight car exploded. Thank God. Otherwise, I would have been caught by the blast as well.
You certainly were lucky.
Perhaps I was. What happened over there? The inspector said something about gas canisters that exploded.
If Inspector Legrand says so, it must be so, right?
I have been to war, and this was no minor explosion. I rather doubt that the freight car was packed to the roof with gas canisters.
The investigations are ongoing, but first we have to get the burning train out of the tunnel.
Of course.
How are the passengers?
They are in a state of shock, of course. The blackout and the sudden stop were frightening enough, but then the explosion, the dust. Everyone rushed for the exits. I was helping the American woman bring Lady Westmacott to safety. They are waiting outside in the tunnel. One entrance is blocked by a fire, and the other one seems to have collapsed.
Continue to search the train. I'll decouple the buried freight car.
All right.
Doctor? Can you give me a few matches?
Oh, certainly.
Thanks. I'll meet you outside.
Do hurry.
The chair either fell over thanks to the sudden stop, or an escaping passenger knocked it over. Wanting to get off the train as quickly as possible after a sudden stop and a massive tremor, that's understandable. I noticed the extinguisher earlier. Doesn't match the decor. I suppose that the railway company had to comply with safety regulations at the cost of aesthetics. It's not bothering me. I'll leave it there. I don't see Legrand or the constable, but I can make out the silhouettes of some of the passengers. They seem to be unscathed. All the same, the fire is getting bigger, and I don't have much time. The fire is sucking the oxygen out of the tunnel and filling it with poisonous carbon monoxide. Here in the Alps there have been dozens of catastrophes in tunnels that ended with death by asphyxiation. But not on my watch. I should concentrate on uncoupling the freight car. I'm positive that Legrand has everything else under control. That should do it. Can't really say the fabric was eager to soak up the rum. I, on the other hand, soaked up enough in my fingers to smell like a drunk. The last of the candy. That'll get me something like a Molotov cocktail. I want light, but I don't want it to come from a wall of flames. Even if I could set the fabric alight, how would I carry the fire? Then I want light. The last of the candy has vanished. I want light, but I don't want it to come from a wall of flames. The chair either fell over thanks to wanting to get off. It's not bothering me. There's a pretty intense draft here. The fire is sucking up the oxygen. It's still quite warm and too warped to open. I filled the bowl about a third. Phew, strong stuff. I filled the bowl about a third of the way with rum. Phew. I want light. I filled the bowl. I want. Just as I expected, the alcohol burns with an almost invisible flame. The alcohol on the curtains would burn just as dimly as in the bowl. It's no good. The flame is hot, but it's no use as a light source. I want light. The alcohol, the flame. The flame. Even if I. I expect the rum will burn like ethanol, but I better not test that theory in the bottle. Even if I... The alcohol on the... The flame is hot, but it's not... The flame... Pills for my heart. I'm supposed to take one if I have pain. I haven't needed them yet. Pills for my heart. I'm supposed to... I bought it last... It was... The alcohol on the... The flame is... There's a pretty intense... I want...